Okay, so that's going to make sure that the email is in a valid format. And the last change that I want to do is going to be down within this section, and it's rather an important one that I somehow missed in my earlier tutorials. You may notice that in all this error checking here, we make sure that all the form fields are filled in, and we make sure that both password fields match, and now we check that the email form is valid. But we never anywhere check the database to make sure that our username or our email address is unique. We don't necessarily want users to be able to share email addresses or usernames somehow. Email addresses shouldn't happen, but it's quite possible that a user may enter in a duplicate username, and that would be bad. We don't want to have things being confused in the database. So let's go ahead and write a couple MySQLi queries to make sure to check for that. So the first thing I want to do is we're going to check if the email is taken. And we're going to do that check equals MySQLi, and we're going to prepare the statement. We'll do select email from members where email equals question mark, and then we're going to bind the parameters. First one being S for a string. It replaces this question mark, and in the place of that we're going to include input email. And then we're going to execute. We're going to store the results. And finally we're going to do an if statement to check if there were any results. So if check num rows, if it doesn't equal 0, we want to display a message saying the email is invalid, or not so much invalid as already in use. So in that case, I'm going to add 2 error messages. I'm going to add an alert message with a longer, more descriptive message. And then I'm going to add an error message next to the email address itself, which simply says okay, like so. And then the final thing, we want to show our form again. All right. There we go. And rather than doing multiple if statements and if else statements, etc., because we want to check if the email is taken, and then we want to also check if the username is taken, etc. So what I'm going to just do is I'm going to include an exit. And that simply means that if we get to this point and we hit the exit, PHP is going to stop and it won't continue executing any additional code. So that way I don't have to worry about multiple nested if and else if statements. So the first thing we want to do is check if the email is taken, and I'm going to copy and paste this. And we're going to check now if the username is taken. And basically just a matter of changing a couple of variables here. Just make sure. Yes, I called mine user. Okay. Okay, and then the last change that we need to make to this file is down here. We want to make sure we're saving the email in the database. Okay, I believe that's it. Let me save it. And let's go ahead and check this. So I logged in, register member. Actually, I'm just going to fill in some filler information just to make sure everything's working. Okay, that makes sense. Try again. It says the email is already in use, so I'm going to put admin2 instead. That should fix that. And different username. And it looks like we got an issue. So let me double check that. Username, email, password. Oh, here we go. Forgot to add an extra question mark. So let's go back. Try this again. And it looks like we got a member added successfully message. Let's check our database. And it looks like everything was inserted correctly.